What's up guys, it's Drifts and Lifts here. Alright, so we got Miss Huff sitting on the dyno right now. And I'm just hanging out at Post Haste Performance here in Chilliwack, BC. So after a lot of thought, I've decided to go with a standalone ECU in Miss Huff. And the reason being for that is further down the road, if I ever want to do turbo setup and that kind of thing, this is going to make it a lot easier to tune it. Because this car is Regina, so you can't really set up a turbo very well with the Regina system. Another reason is that I've been having this weird problem the whole time I've owned this car, and it basically goes into some sort of limp mode when I drift it or go really fast on the highway. After throwing a bunch of parts at it, I'm kind of over messing with it, and Dan kind of recommended to just go with the standalone. It'll give me more opportunity for the future of this car if I ever do want to do further mods and that kind of thing. So yeah, I also have sitting in the trunk right now a Volvo K camshaft. So that came out of a couple different cars, but this one is slotted for a head-mounted distributor. So thanks to my buddy Andreas from Sweden for that. We're going to put that in. Dan's going to run a standalone ECU, and we're hoping to make a little bit more power out of this thing, more reliability, and should be good there. So what we're doing right now is a dyno run with the stock ECU. We're still able to get a full pull out of it until it does the limp mode. So we're going to see what it makes, and then we're going to do another run later down the road once we put the standalone and the new cam in. So yeah, let's do it up. Alright guys, so we got Miss Huff on the dyno. Dan's going to do a baseline run, or a couple maybe, and we're going to see what this makes with the stock ECU, stock cam, stock everything. M47 with a 410 rear end. Alright guys, so we got our first baseline run. So this little B230F made 95 peak wheel horsepower and 112 foot-pounds. So that's kind of average for these motors. It's right where we kind of would expect it to be. So I guess we'll see once we put the standalone and the K-cam in what kind of gains we can make over top of that. You know, I'm hoping for 15 wheel horsepower and maybe 10 foot-pounds of torque increase total. The main reason I want to do this is for reliability and so I can eventually turbo it. But it's cool that it should be a cool little NA ripper car once we're done this. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it before I turbo it. And then down the road, I'm sure there'll be other plans. So there you go, that's the baseline. All right guys, so Dan has started to wire in the standalone ECU here. Couple things to note. I got new injectors actually. So these are white injectors out of a 1998 S70 T5 car. So they're 350cc at 3 bar. I didn't necessarily need them, but I had them laying around, and just to be safe, I wasn't sure with the K-cam that those stock injectors were going to be completely, you know, good enough. And another thing is these are 4-hole. So, and they're a little bit newer injector style, so, you know, a bit better spray pattern, that kind of thing. So we're kind of just plugging away here, and shortly we're going to install the cam, and I'll take the two cams out and show you guys a comparison of the lobes and the duration and that kind of thing. Like the K-cam is a lot bigger than the stock M-cam that's in this car right now. So yeah, it's going along pretty good, and I'm stoked to see what this does when we get it all fired up. Alright guys, so yeah, we're installing this K-cam here. So this right here in my hand is the old M-cam that this motor came with. So all North American B230F motors would have came with this M-cam. It's arguably the worst cam that Volvo makes. It's, you know, 9 point something millimeters of lift, whereas this K-cam has like 11.8 or 9. So as you can see, the lobe sizes are, you know, there's a good difference in them. If we compare those two lobes right there. definitely more on the K-cam. So yeah, I'm not gonna do an install video today. I'll do that another time. Yeah, but we're gonna get this in, and a couple more things to wire up for the Standalone. Another thing I want to mention, I showed you guys that I installed these white T5 injectors. So those are 350cc at 3 bar fuel pressure. So these are in an NA motor. That's a lot of fuel, but you can't do this if you're running stock ECUs, so don't even try. There'd be no point. It would completely bog your car out. So the only reason we can do this is because we're running a full standalone ECU. So Dan can kind of, he can work with that. And also, like I said, the four hole design should give me a little smoother idle, a little newer injectors. So, you know, that helps there. So yeah, we're gonna get this cam in and keep trucking away on the wiring, and it's coming along. All right, guys, so we basically have the Standalone fully wired in. So there you go, the Spitronics Mercury 2. Yeah, so it actually looks pretty clean. Dan did a really good job of all the looms and stuff. So we're basically ready to fire it up and start the tuning process. So yeah, right when we're done, we'll compare the chart before and after. So the baseline pull when we had the stock ECU and stock tune, and then we'll see what increase we made with the K-cam shaft under that red valve cover there. And yeah, the Standalone. Dan's able to obviously make his own timing maps and stuff like that. And apparently, from what I've read, this K-cam really likes to have advanced timing up in the top end quite a bit. So we'll be able to get the full use out of the benefits of this cam. So I'm pretty stoked. We'll see how this goes. All right, guys. So Miss Huff is running good. Dan's got basically a pretty optimal tune on here. He's done a really good job on it. So we're gonna do a couple pulls and kind of see where we're at compared to what it was on stock cam and stock ECUs. So yeah, we'll give her a go right now. Alright guys, so here we have our two charts, basically comparing our first baseline pull with the stock ECUs, the Regina ECUs, and the M-cam. So the only thing we changed was Dan obviously wired in the Spitronics Mercury 2 standalone ECU, and we also put a Volvo K-cam shaft in there. So as you can see, there's some really good increase in both torque and horsepower, and the graphs look a lot better. So as you can see, the baseline wheel horsepower with the stock ECUs and cam was 95.8, and the stock torque, actually I should mention what RPM that's at. So that's right at roughly 5,000 RPM. Baseline torque was 112.4, and that happened about 3,500 RPM, a little bit over. So then the thick line at the top there, so the thick red line and the thick blue line is with the K-cam and the tune. So as you can see, that the whole chart has gained a substantial amount for this being all we did. So gains torque right from down low. It's already making more torque. And I've heard people say that the K-cam takes a bit of torque out of the low end, but because we have the Standalone and we're able to make, you know, proper timing maps and all that kind of thing, we actually didn't lose any in the low end, we gained some. So with the K-cam and the tune, it made 118.7 wheel horsepower and a stout 141.8 foot-pounds of torque. So that's some really good gains. I'm really happy with that. I think it's going to drift a lot better. This car is going to be, you know, really fun for the snow and the rain. It'll still dry drift perfectly fine, but yeah, it should be a nice, reliable, solid car. So yeah, that's what you're looking. And people do say the K-cam, you know, is a really top-end cam. We actually didn't notice that too much. It more so increased the mid range of the motor. So as you can see, it starts to fall off pretty good after 6,000 RPM. We rev it out to 65 just to get a little bit more RPM and gearing essentially while I'm drifting, so I'm not just smacking limiter. I will mention Miss Huff does have a 410 rear end in it, so this is going to feel, you know, it's going to feel pretty sporty, I do believe. Yeah, so Dan changed the AFRs, you know, he leaned it out a little bit compared to what stock is, and optimized all the timing maps. So there you go, guys. That's a real world dyno chart, in person, kind of what you can expect from changing your cam to a K cam, and yeah, a good tune by a reputable shop that knows how to do what they're doing. So yeah, I'm stoked to drive this. I'll save that for another episode, but yeah, all I can say is I'm pretty stoked with the outcome. So that is basically a wrap up of today. Yeah, Miss Huff is tuned. It made a substantial, you know, pretty good increase in both torque and horsepower with this new setup. Spitronics engine management system. Yeah, it's a good budget ECU if you guys are looking into a standalone setup. It does all the things you want it to. Maybe not as crazy as, you know, like a upper class Haltech and stuff like that, but it definitely does the job. Perfect for Miss Huff. If you guys will notice, we went with a VW coil. So these are really easy to find in the wreckers and stuff. It seemed like the best option for this management system. So that's basically what we're working with here. If you guys have any, you guys have any project cars, anything, want a standalone, a tune, basically anything, bring it to Post Haste here in Chilliwack, BC. You guys can look them up on Google, posttaste.ca, Facebook, Instagram. They're on there as well. Dan's done my gold car actually, and we had awesome results with that one. Made plenty more power on the same amount of boost and that kind of thing. So yeah, Dan definitely knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. So definitely give him a shout if you have any, project cars you want some tweaks to and improvements on. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Make sure you check out my Drifts and Lifts store. I haven't released a new design in a while here, but me and Davis are gonna get on some things pretty soon here once we get back up and running. The link to my Drifts and Lifts store is in the description of this video right here. So you can just check it out. It'll bring you right to the Teespring and you can order it online there. So anyways, guys, like and subscribe for hot red Volvos. Peace out.